Introduction. Today we will be making a musical band in Scratch. We'll be making instruments play music when we click on them. We'll also be adding a singer that will record your voice. And here's an example. We'll have 3 instruments and a singer. So to begin our project, begin by naming our untitled project at the top, Rock Band. And let's begin. After naming our project Rock Band, let's start with the first step, adding a sprite. The first thing we need to do is add a sprite for our instrument. Remember, sprites are different characters that we can add to our program. Before that, we need to delete the Scratch Cat sprite. Click on the trash can next to the Scratch Cat. Find this icon under the stage, and we can navigate and find the trash can. If you noticed, we have no motion blocks anymore, and that is because there is nothing on the stage for us to move. Therefore, our motion blocks are removed. The next thing for us to do is choose a sprite we'll be adding next. Now, in the bottom right corner, click on the blue button with the white cat face inside. Then choose a drum sprite. So in the bottom right corner, we can find a white face cat to choose a sprite, and we'll be inside the Scratch library. You can pick whichever drum set you want. For simply, we'll be picking the red drum set. If you want to find the drum set faster, you can click on the music option at the top or type in drum in the search bar. Let's go ahead and try it for ourselves. I'm going to click on music on the top. And if it's a little bit too hard for us to find still, let's go ahead and type it in the search bar, drum. And there's the drum kit. Once we have our drum kit, we can move on to the next step. After adding our drum kit, the next step for us to do is choosing a background. Now we are going to choose a background for our band. All concerts have a stage, right? To add your backdrop, in the bottom right corner, click on the blue circle with the rectangle in it. It is next to the white cat that you clicked on to add your drum set. If we navigate under the stage again, we'll locate the cat icon, and next to the cat icon, we'll find the rectangle with the circle. Let's choose a background, and now we are inside the Scratch library for backdrops. A background. So choose one that you'll like. I recommend one of the theater backgrounds, but it's up to you. There are some concerts and spotlight backgrounds you can choose from as well. You can choose the music option to see some backdrops or scroll through all of them until you find the one you want. Let's go ahead and find the music option on the top, which is right behind me. If we click on music, there are some options for us. I'm going to choose theater, and we can go ahead and navigate to our stage to pick up our sprite and place it where we like. Now, our sprite may be a little bit too big, or it might not be the color we like. So I'm going to show you guys how to modify your sprite next. Now that we've modified our drum kit, let's begin by adding sounds to our drum set. Now it is time to start coding. Now we want our drum to make a drum sound when we click on it. Let's give a hint. So when our sprite is clicked, then we want to start the drum sound. So we're going to need a trigger and we're going to need a sound. Let's go ahead and navigate to our categories. And let's begin by going to Control, And it looks like there's nothing here for us. Let's try events. Now, events is what triggers our program. So let's begin by choosing when this sprite is clicked. Let's try to add this code to test your drums out. So we started our trigger with when this sprite is clicked, and then we want to start the drum sound. So let's try this code. Let's start sound low tom. So we can find this code block in our sound category, and we can see it as the second code block, start sound low tom. And let's try it out. Let's click on our sprite. You should begin to hear a drum sound. So here's a challenge. Let's use sounds using our keyboard. So that makes a different trigger. So let's try to make our drum make a sound when we press a button on the keyboard. There will only be one code block that we need to change, and that is our trigger. So when the space key is pressed, we want to start the drum sound. So our code is staying the same besides the trigger. Let's add this code to your drum sprite. Let's replace the top with when space key pressed. So instead of us navigating to our stage to click on our sprite, let's change our trigger to when space key pressed. We can disconnect the code block and add it to our new trigger. And we can delete the old one by tossing it back to the categories. And now, try triggering your drum kit by pressing the space key on your keyboard. You should hear the tum sound. Now, picking up your sprite or clicking it will not work. Let's try some other sprites by adding more. Now that we've modified one drum kit, let's add two other sprites / instruments, and we can modify those sprites as well. So we're going to go ahead and navigate back to the cat icon at the bottom right corner of the screen to choose another sprite. We can find more instruments by going back to the music option, and feel free to select two other instruments of your favorite. I'm going to choose the electric guitar. And I'm also going to choose a saxophone. And I'm going to choose one singer. You can always feel free to look through the Scratch library and find someone else to replace your singer. It does not have to be the singer that is in the music option. Feel free to modify your sprites and place them where you like. Perhaps adjust the size for some instruments. Repositioning them. And setting up your stage properly. And once you have your stage set, we can begin by adding music to our sprites. The next sprite we're going to add is a singer sprite. Let's add a singer to our band. All bands have more than just a drum kit. Do you remember how to add a sprite to our program? It's the same method we used before. Feel free to pause the video at any point to add a new sprite. It's in the bottom right corner of Scratch. Press the Choose a Sprite button and add a character to be your singer. It looks like the white face cat. And if we navigate to the bottom right corner, there is the white cat face. Let's begin by choosing a sprite. It can be anybody you like. Or we can type up singer, and there's one option for us. But you can choose anybody you would like to sing on the stage. I'm going to go ahead and choose Abby. Feel free to modify your sprite by going underneath the stage and changing up the size. Perhaps it needs to be smaller or bigger. Adjust your sprite to where you want it. Now that we've chosen a singer sprite, let's add some code for them. This is where you'll be able to show off your wonderful singing skills. Here's a hint. When we click on our singer, we want them to start a sound. So again, we need a trigger to click on our singer, and we want them to start a sound. Let's go ahead and navigate through our categories. Make sure we are clicked on Abby, and let's go ahead and go into events. For we can use the trigger called when this sprite is clicked. And we want them to start a sound. So we can go ahead and navigate to the sound categories since we want to hear a sound. Add this code to your singer sprite, and then we'll record our own sound in the next slides. So we have the trigger when this sprite is clicked, but let's use the code block from the sound category, start sound pop. Start sound pop. Go ahead and test out the sound, for we can record our own sounds afterwards. You should be able to hear a pop sound. Next, we'll work on recording our own sounds. So I'll go ahead and record one myself to show you guys. Ba la 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 la, ba la 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 la. And that should be good enough. And then if you want to select a certain portion of your song, maybe, ba la 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 la. Or maybe perhaps you wanted the whole song. Ba la 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 la, ba la 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 la. Or perhaps since there was a short wait in the beginning, I'll trim that. Ba la 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 la, ba la 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 la. I like that. Let's go ahead and save it, or feel free to re-record it if you would like. I'm going to go ahead and click save. After that, you will have a new recording sound. Feel free to rename the sound. I'm going to put la la la, since the sound goes ba la 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 la, ba la 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 la. And then, since we're in our sound categories, or sound tab we should say, let's go back to the coding tab. And let's switch start sound pop by clicking the arrow, and let's click on our labeled recording. And now when you click on your sprite, ba la 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 la, ba la 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 la. Or if you click on your drum kit and your singer at the same time. So remember, our drum kit is with the space key, and our singer is by clicking on it. So let's try it. Ba la 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 la, ba la 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 la. Feel free to change up these sounds again by clicking the arrows, and hear all the different sounds that the sound category has to offer. Let's try that. Ba la feel free to play around with your sounds. After recording our own sounds, let's add more instruments. A band needs more than just a singer and some drums. Let's add some more musical instruments into our game. Click on the blue circle with the white cat face button and add another instrument. And you can begin by coding your new instruments by playing a sound. I'll choose an electric guitar as my new instrument. So let's add some cool sounds to the guitar. I'm going to go ahead and choose a sprite. Go to the music tab and the electric guitar. Does anyone have an idea we can do that? If you know how to code your instrument, feel free to pause the video. Here's a hint in case you do need one. When the instrument sprite is clicked, then start a sound. Keep in mind, if you didn't choose the electric guitar, then your sound might look titled something else. It may look a little different. So I'm going to choose the trigger when the sprite is clicked and start sound electric guitar. When this sprite is clicked, start sound electric guitar. Ba la 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 la, ba la 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 la. And feel free to add in as many instruments as you like. Next, let's work on making our instruments move. Currently, our instruments always stay in the same spot, even when our program is running or making noise. We are going to add some code so that our instruments shake. Here's a hint. When we click the green flag, we want our instruments to turn a bit. Wait 1 second, turn again, and wait 1 second, and do it forever. Let's go ahead and fix up our environment by zooming out with our magnifying glass. This will give us more room to code inside our script. And also, we will need to be using our green flag. So I'm going to go ahead and move my camera a little bit, and it's going to be right here next to me. We're going to click this green flag every time to make our instruments shake. And let's see the code we're going to be using. Let's add this code into your instruments. When flag click, forever, turn 15 degrees, wait 0.1 seconds, turn 15 degrees, wait 0.1 seconds. Let's try it. After making some room in our script, let's go ahead to events to trigger our new program. When flag is clicked, we want the instruments to forever shake. So let's go into controls. That way we can use a forever block. And let's attach those two together. That way the instrument is forever shaking. Now let's make the shaking part code. Let's go into motion since we want to turn left and right. And let's turn 15 degrees to the right and turn 15 degrees to the left. Now, if you were to test out this code, you will notice that nothing happens. You can take a guess. Reason being is there's no pause between our code blocks. Therefore, our code never really moves or works. Let's add in a control. Let's add in a wait block between these two codes. Now we're seeing some movement, but not very quickly. Let's shorten up the seconds by putting 0.1 inside both. And then you will have your shaking guitar. That way, every time you click on it, seems like it's rocking and rolling. If you want this code inside other sprites, perhaps maybe you want your drum kit to shake as well, feel free to pick up the code from the top and drop it into the drum kit. I'm going to zoom out with my magnifying glass since we have more code. And now the drum kit will shake as well. Feel free to add in as many instruments or singers as you want. And that concludes the end of our game. But here's a challenge. Try making your other instruments shake. Click on other sprites and try coding the shake code again. Any questions? Feel free to reach out to us. Here is all the code we used for our rock band. Again, any questions, feel free to reach out to AI Code Academy. See you for the next project.